My name is Daarsy Sטרנקו, and I am the owner of Silver Linings Agency. And I'm from Portland, Oregon, and lived there with my husband and my son. My husband of over 20 years, and my 4.5-year-old son, who we had through IVF. So very fortunate that there was medical intervention to help us have a kid. And have been in the industry for almost 15 years, working with clients internationally to help them have babies and get home successfully with those children and enjoy their families.
So I understand you find surrogates. Who are these women who are willing to carry someone else's baby, and will they want to keep my baby?
A surrogate is an amazing woman who is willing to be pregnant for somebody else. Not for me, I would never be willing to do that because it was so difficult, but they enjoy pregnancy, they want to help somebody, they feel empowered to be able to give somebody the gift that they enjoy themselves, that gift of a child. On a purely factual level, they're between 21 and 38 years old. They've carried children with no complications. They typically have between 1 and 3 children. Some are married, some are single, some are divorced. Do they want to keep your child? Never. I've never had even a hesitation. These are women who go into gestational surrogacy for the purpose that there is no genetic tie between the child they are carrying and themselves. That's why we call them a carrier. And they're very much motivated that it's your child, that you're making the decisions for the child, that this is not their child. They're just simply helping you. They're a gateway to get you to that child and that family.
What kind of relationships do the parents create with the surrogates, and how is it done?
Each relationship is a little unique. When I first work with clients, one of the things we talk about is how do you see a relationship developing? A lot of times with international clients, it's going to be a matter of a few select meetings and a Skype kind of relationship. Some parents want to have a Skype for every appointment that the surrogate does. The surrogates are more than willing to do that. Some intended parents want less of an involvement, but to be in contact on a regular basis. So it's a matter of utilizing the technology that we have today, whether it's text or phone or Skype or Tango or any of those other mechanisms, so that we make sure that our intended parents have the information and feel involved in the process. A lot of times we have intended parents do simple things like record their voice, read a story, and then that surrogate then plays that story for the baby so that they get used to that voice. There's an imprint there. Maybe music that they like to listen to, so that again, when that baby comes home, it's familiar with it. It's something that they can tune into.
So how do you find these gestational carriers? What kind of screening do they go through? How do you see if they fit for the job?
In terms of recruiting surrogates, we find them in a variety of places. I do outreach with midwives and doulas to see if there are some of their patients that they've worked with that are great carriers that might be interested in this. I advertise. I work with some of the local groups, in terms of Resolve and, some of the others to get those people that are interested in surrogacy, kind of on that path. I also do outreach with young mothers, whether that's at play groups, a lot of community centers, those kinds of things where people have smaller children. Being a surrogate is something that they might be interested in. And part of the biggest recruiting is my own surrogates. Friends of the surrogates that are going through cycle right now who say, wow, that's kind of cool. I would like to be a part of that. How can I do that? So I always find that surrogates are the best advertisement because they're experiencing it and they're going through it at the same time. In terms of screening, we do a variety of screening before a surrogate is quote unquote active in our pool. So we're going to do background check, criminal on her and anybody in her family, any adult level. We want to make sure that, like you said, that we don't have crazy people that are wanting to do this. They go through a psychological evaluation. That counselor, that psychologist is going to talk to them about the whole process, what it's going to feel like to carry a baby for somebody else and turn that over and how different that is from, their own pregnancies. as well as do an MMPI, which is a psychological evaluation. And then there's an interview process that they go through with me. And before they even get to that point, we're screening that application. You can tell a lot from an application. Misspelled words, answers not, thought out. We want somebody who's taking the process seriously. We want them to be able to create a picture of who they are on a piece of paper before they meet with that intended parent, to kind of see if there's going to be a connection. So there's several different steps, at which point a surrogate may fall out because she just doesn't, not that there's anything wrong with her, she just may not meet some of our criteria or at the level we need her to be.
After the parents have been matched with a surrogate, what do you do then? How do you facilitate the process?
So after an intended parent and a surrogate have been matched, the next step is that we're going to get all of her medical records to the clinic. It's my job to facilitate that. We like to have it go from medical facility to medical facility, make sure that those entities are talking, make sure all records are received and how they need to be. At the same point, what we're working on coordinating legal referrals. So we're kind of doing those in concert with each other so that one process is not holding up the other, but we're not getting ahead of ourselves in terms of cost and process and everything. And then my job really is to make sure that all of the administrative nitty-gritty stuff is taken care of. We make sure bills are paid. We make sure appointments are made. We make sure if there's travel involved that we arrange that. We make sure that the intended parents are getting the information that they need throughout each step of the process. So that's making sure that there's clear lines of communication between the clinic, the surrogate, ourselves, any other entity that we need to make sure that people feel like that they have a handle on what's going on at all times in the process.
Tell me about your personal story, and has it affected your ability to do these things?
Well, it's much different now that I've gone through IVF. When I started in this business, I was much younger and we didn't have children. And so now to be able to say to a surrogate, I know the shots you're going to take. They're not that bad. It's not a walk in the park, but it's not that bad at the end of the day. It's worth it. And to be able to say to an intended parent, I've walked a bit of a day in your shoe. I've had a failed cycle. I know what it's like to not be successful. I know what it's like to want something so intangible but tangible, and you can't kind of put your words around it, to feel like the calendar's flying by. So I think that it helps me relate to both sides of the party a little bit more, just be able to, be a little bit invested in each of their journeys.
Are surrogates willing to work with same-sex or international couples?
Absolutely. I would say that most of my surrogates, if I ask them about it, I would say probably 98% of them think that's amazing because there's no other option. It's not a situation where someone's doing it for vanity reasons or anything like that. This is something where they are able to fulfill a real need. Someone really, really needs their help, and they enjoy it. The fact that it's international kind of puts a little bit of a flair for them. These are young ladies that they may have not traveled international. So to all of a sudden have some connection out there in the world, that not only am I doing something great for somebody, but wow, look at it's for somebody from so far away, from a different kind of world that then they get to be a part of. So it's amazing for them.
And you've worked with intended parents from many countries. Where from?
I've worked with people from the U.S., from France, from Germany, from Singapore, from Australia, New Zealand, Ghana, Israel, London or England. I've pretty much hit, I think a lot of them, Ireland, Scotland. I'm not good with the globe. If you give me a globe, I could point them all out. But I think those, are pretty much the Mexico. I've had a couple South American clients. So pretty much from everywhere. People, need help having a baby. So, it's our job to kind of take down those borders and, just work with them to get them to the goal.
Are all intended parents similar, or do you find differences between?
Heavens no. Everyone is, every intended parent is different. That's probably what is so amazing, that while it's the same process, you're going to find a surrogate, get matched, do a cycle, have a baby. each journey is so unique. So each parent has different expectations, wants different things, has different personalities. Their relationships with their surrogates are different. So it's amazingly exciting. And that's why it's so great to get to know the individual parents and be able to match them appropriately with, a surrogate that kind of fits within their expectations and personalities and all that.
Tell me something that no one knows about you.
Something about me. Well, if you know me, I'm pretty much an open book. Something that nobody knows. Most people don't know that I was raised on a farm. My family is still farmers. My dad, it's a full-time farm, and we supply a lot of the restaurants in the Portland area. So that's probably something that I don't really talk about in terms of my career, bringing it up.